Welcome back to the Weirdly Amused. We got a couple Commander games coming up for you. This one today, we are doing a casual game. It's pretty fun. I brought the Inalla deck I told you guys I was going to bring, and then we also had a couple guests on. We had our friend Pawnee. I don't actually remember how to pronounce that. And then we had co-hosts Ben and Noah also on the game. It was a fun game. Noah and Ben actually brought commanders from the new set. Noah, tell us a little about your commander.
Yeah, so today we decided to bring in some tribal decks. We have me bringing Katilda, Dawnheart, Superior, whatever her name is. I'll tell you here in a second. Anyway, the new Katilda, the human tribal commander. Great, turns all my humans into mana dorks. Pay 6 mana, tap her, and put a wall encounter on all my creatures. So I'm playing a bunch of little guys, don't do a whole lot all by themselves, but they give me mana, and I can just rack them up there with abilities, rack them up there with those counters, and eventually, hey, an army of 1/1s isn't scary, but an army of 5/5s, 6/6, 7/7s, now we're talking.
Also, it was hilarious that it accidentally mattered that it was protection from werewolves.
Yeah, the protection from werewolf claws on the commander slightly mattered, as Ben decided to bring Torvold, the new werewolf commander from Midnight Hunt. And so, completely didn't plan for this. He just, hey, I'm bringing the werewolves. I'm like, well, kind of awkward, but I got the one creature that's protection from werewolves.
Yeah, so that was fun. And then we had another gentleman, so Wizards tribal, human tribal, and then we have Pawnee who came in bringing in dragon tribal.
Dragon
And I
tribal with
also
the
thought,
Ur-Dragon. Yeah, Pony brought in there with his dragon tribal. Now, when we first found out it was going to be dragons, not going to lie, we were a little scared because werewolves like to go on the ground. Humans like to go on the ground as well. Wizards, they can fly, but they're not very big and beefy. So, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
dragons go caw.
Yeah, dragons go zoom. They gonna eat us all alive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little scared about it. But that being said, let's go ahead and get into the gameplay, and we'll talk to you guys afterward. Hello everyone, we are here today for some tribal takedowns. I'm Noah, your narrator for today, so let's jump into the gameplay. Turn 1, Ben opens up with a barn burner of a turn 1 with Forest, into Soul Ring, into Lightning Greaves, before passing turn. Tony follows up by shocking in a Godless Shrine and passing. Kotis drops a Scalding Tarn and passes as well. I follow this pattern by playing a Path of Ancestry, tapped, and passing back to Ben. Turn 2. Ben plays a mountain and casts his commander, Torvolar, Dire Overlord. He goes to equip Lightning Greaves, and in response, Dakota cracks his Scalding Tarn, fetching a Watery Grave, taking a total of 3 life. He then casts Suspend on Torvolar. This exiles Torvolar with 2 time counters on it. Ben then passes, and on his end step, Tony casts Enlightened Tutor, putting a Soul Ring on top of his deck. On his turn, Pony draws and casts the Soul Ring, and uses it to cast a Rakdos Signet. He then plays a tapped Temple Garden, passes the turn. Dakota plays a Training Center and then taps out to cast a Dark Confidant. With that, he passes turn. I start the Pain Train off by missing my land drop and cast a Kithian, Hero of Akros. Since he is a human and I use the Path of Ancestry, I scry 1 and put it on the bottom of my deck. With that, I pass the turn. Turn 3. Ben takes his turn and starts by removing a time counter from Torvolar. He then plays a Bloodstained Mire, cracks it, taking 1 damage to fetch a Cinderglade. Then casts a Reckless Stormseeker, and he follows it up with a Duskwatch Recruiter. After equipping Duskwatch with the Lightning Greaves, he moves to combat, triggering his Stormseeker to give itself a +1/+0 boost and haste. Swing out at Dakota, who doesn't block and takes 5 damage. With that, Ben passes. When he starts his turn, and taps out for a Broodmate Dragon, bring with it a 4/4 Dragon token, after which he passes. Dakota goes to his upkeep and triggers Dark Confidant, taking 1 damage to get a Siren Stormtamer to his hand. He then draws for turn, plays an Arid Mesa, and casts said Siren Stormtamer. With Inalla's ETB ability on the stack, he cracks the Mesa, taking 1, to fetch a basic mountain, and create a token copy of Storm Tamer, which he then sacrifices when he casts Village Rites to draw 2 cards. Passing to me, I miss yet another land drop and cast a Skull Clamp. With my Eternal Sadness, I pass to Ben. On to turn 4, Ben starts his turn by bringing Torvolar back from Suspend. He equips Torvolar with Lightning Greaves, and for some quick maths on blockers, he swings his board at me for 7 damage. I decide that it's not worth giving up my only creature and decide to take it to the face. Ben then casts Shaman of Forgotten Ways and passes his turn. Tony starts his turn by casting Kolaghan Storm's Fury. With his big dragon buff in play, he swings 12 at Ben to teach him who's the real damage dealer at the table. He then passes to Dakota. Dakota takes 0 off of his Dark Confidant for revealing a land and draws the second card. He plays a Chrome Mox, exiling the Thrill Possibilities, casts a Time Warp to get an extra turn. Passing to himself, he reveals a Venser Shaper Savant from Dark Confidant and draws his card for turn. After playing a tapped Frostboil Snarl, he passes it back to me. Starting on turn 5, Ben starts his turn with a board of transformed werewolves. He draws and plays a snow-covered mountain as his land for turn. He moved his Lightning Greaves to a Storm Chase Slasher. He then decides math is for blockers and swings his board at Pony for some good old-fashioned fisticuffs, attacking him for 12. He finishes his turn by casting Rhythm of the Wild and Beast Whisperer. We miss the day trigger here, but nothing's really affected by it as Ben's creatures can't block. Pony starts his turn by going straight into combat and punches Ben back for a whopping 21 damage, dropping him to 6 life. Pony then casts a Mana Vault, then finally catches that it is day, switching all of his werewolves to the correct side. Pony continues and casts a Crux of Fate, declaring non-dragons, removing anything that's not one of those big flying lizards. He follows it up with his own Lightning Greaves and equips it to Kolaghan. He passes, but on his end step, Dakota casts a Yahada's Ploy to draw 2 cards and discard a card. He discards a Nexus of Fate and gains 7 life before shuffling Nexus back into his deck. Dakota starts his turn and just passes. I draw a card and finally cast my commander, Katilda, Dawnheart Prime, before passing to Ben. Turn 6, Ben starts his turn by playing a Reliquary Tower. Desperate to save himself, he casts a Fervent Mastery for its alternate cost. This lets him tutor for 3 cards, then discard 3 cards at random, while an opponent of his choice discards 3 cards and then draws 3 cards. He chooses me, and I discard a Geist Honored Monk, a Guardian Gladewalker, and a Containment Priest, and draw my cards as Ben searches for his answers. He finds his cards, and after some shenanigans with numbers, he discards a Sheltered Thicket, Hessic Naturalist, and an Embercleave. He goes for broke and casts a Chain Reaction, removing everything but Kolaghan. After trying to save himself with that, he passes to Pony. Pony then starts his turn by taking 1 from Mana Vault and plays a Wooded Foothills, cracking it and taking another 1 to fetch, and then paying 2 more life to have Blood Crypt enter untapped so he can cast Teneb the Harvester. He equips Teneb with the Lightning Greaves, hits Dakota for 6 with Kolaghan, but kills Ben by hitting him for 8 with Teneb. Dakota responds by casting Venser Shaper Savant and copying it once the ETBs with Inalla's ability. He uses this to bounce the Kolaghan that was attacking him, and the Rakdos Signet to prevent himself from taking damage, but is unable to save Ben. Pony then passes, Dakota draws and passes to me. I draw and cast a Fencing Ace. I pass after missing yet another land drop, and Pony starts turn 7. Turn 7, Pony untaps and takes 1 from Mana Vault. He plays a Polluted Delta and casts Rakdos Signet. He follows it up by casting Kolaghan again, which Dakota counters with Whirlwind Denial. Having provoked the dragons, Pony hits Dakota for 6, he then passes. On his instep, Dakota casts Valka Awakening to get a new hand, putting the cards in his hand on the bottom of his deck and drawing that many +1 cards. Pony responds by cracking his Polluted Delta and takes 1 damage. Dakota draws and passes as per usual. I draw and play a Snow-Covered Forest. I decide to pass the turn. Pony untaps and pays for the Mana Vault. He declares Teneb to attack me, but I hard cast an Obscuring Haze to prevent all combat damage. With no Teneb trigger to reanimate, Pony instead goes for an Urza's Incubator, which Dakota smartly negates. Dakota follows the negate up with an Anticipate to look at top 3 cards of his deck and put 1 into his hand while the rest go to the bottom of his library. On Dakota's turn, he casts a Brainstorm, drawing 3 cards and putting 2 on top of his deck. He plays a Command Tower and casts a Crucible of Worlds, passing to me. I draw and equip my Fencing Ace with a Skull Clamp to draw 2 more cards. I play a Snow-Covered Plains and cast a Cultivate, getting a Plains to the field, and a Snow-Covered Forest to my hand. Having to discard, I pitch a Sigarda, Champion of Light, and accepting my fate with no blockers, I pass the turn. On to turn 8, Pony draws and casts the Ur-Dragon, much to the groans of Dakota and I. He equips the Lightning Greaves to the Ur-Dragon, swinging Ur-Dragon at Dakota and Teneb at me. Pony draws 2 cards and put a puts a Dragon Lord Culligan onto the field thanks to the Ur-Dragon. In response, Dakota plays a Thirst for Knowledge, draw 3 cards and discard Nexus of Fate and Demilich. Nexus gets shuffled back into his deck, and Pony ends his turn by playing a Windswept Heath and cracking it, taking 1. Dakota draws and plays a Scalding Tarn out of his graveyard thanks to the Crucible Worlds, and then casts a Demonic Tutor and passes turn. I draw and then tap out to cast Maya, Guard Protector. Since I use the Path of Ancestry, I scry 1 and put it on the bottom of my deck. I play a land, generating a 1/1 Human Warrior token from it, and then equip it with Skull Clamp. Since Maya gives all my creatures +1/+1, it stays around, but I'm not expecting it to live long, so I pass the turn. On to turn 9, Pony leaves the Mana Vault tapped and takes another 1 to start his turn. He casts a Savage Ventmaw, which has haste thanks to Dragon Lord Culligan. Going to combat, he swings the Ur-Dragon and Teneb at me, and Dragon Lord Culligan and Savage Ventmaw at Dakota. This triggers Savage Ventmaw, making 3 green and 3 red mana for Pony. He also draws 4 cards and puts a Dragon Lord Servant onto the battlefield thanks to the Ur-Dragon. All this damage coming for us, Dakota casts Aether Spouts to return all attacking creatures to the top or bottom of their controller's library. Pony decides to put the Ur-Dragon into the command zone with the other 3 dragons, going to the bottom except for Teneb, who he puts back on top of his deck. He equips the Dragon's Lord Servant with the Lightning Greaves and passes turn. Dakota plays a Cascade Bluffs for his turn, cracking his Scalding Tarn, taking 1 to fetch a Blood Crypt, untap, taking another 2, putting him at dangerously low 14. He then casts Grim Tutor, losing yet another 3 life. Also, he can cast a Temporal Manipulation and take an extra turn. Passing to himself, he casts a Cyclone Summoner with a token copy. This bounces all non-wizard or non-giant permanents to their owner's hand. He swings the token copy at Pony for 7, then passes to me. I start my turn by playing a Snow-Covered Forest. I then replay Katilda, scrying 1 off the top for the Path of Ancestry, putting it onto the bottom of the deck. I then play the Celestius, making it day if it wasn't already, and recast the Skull Clamp. I then pass the turn. On turn 10, Pony draws and plays his Caverner Souls, naming dragons. He replays the Soul Ring, then Teneb, and finally Rakdos Signet and Lightning Greave. He equips the Greaves to Teneb and attacks Dakota for 6. Passing to Dakota, who has no in-step shenanigans finally. Dakota draws and swings back a Pony for 7, leaving them both at 5. Dakota replays the Crucible of Worlds, plays a Scalding Tarn again, and passes. I start my turn with the Plains and cast the Guard of Splendor, my favorite enchantment since Smothering Tithe. I followed up with a generous gift, destroying the Caverner Souls, but giving Pony a 3/3 green elephant. Since it was a white spell, I gained 1 life from his Guard of Splendor, and with my last 2 mana, I played an Illusionist Bracers. I then passed to Pony. On turn 11, Pony starts by playing a Mountain and casts the Ur-Dragon again, which Dakota uses Rewind on. Pony puts the Ur-Dragon in his graveyard, and Dakota cracks Scalding Tarn to fetch a basic land. In a desperate bid to get an answer, Dakota casts a Tainted Pact. Exiling cards from his library, he unfortunately hits 2 islands and fails to find anything that can save him from being hit by Teneb for lethal damage. With Dakota out of the game, it passes to me. I untap and draw a card from Guard of Splendor, then draw my card for turn. I replay Maya, scrying the Path of Ancestry, and leaving it on top and gaining 1 life from Guard of Splendor. Then I play a Champion of Lampole, a human who gets a +1/+1 counter whenever a creature enters the battlefield under my control. Creatures my opponent's control can't block any of my stuff if they have power less than Champion's power. I play a land, make a token from Maya, and give a counter to the Champion of Lampole. I then attach Skull Clamp to Katilda and swing her at Pony. This champion is only a 3/3, Pony's Elephant can still block, which it does in trades. This draws me 2 cards from Skull Clamp, and I leave Katilda in the graveyard, and I pass. Turn 12, Pony starts by untapping his Mana Vault and goes right into Teneb, hits me for 6. Activating Teneb, he reanimates the Ur-Dragon, which he equips with the Lightning Greaves to protect it. He follows that up by replaying the Dragon Lord's Servant, and he then passes back to me. I draw and play a land, making another token from Maya, giving Champion another counter. I then casted Gavany Dawnguard, which, as a white spell, gives me 1 life from Guard of Splendor, and gives Champion another counter. I followed up with a Sereth the Viper's Fang. This gives another counter to my Champion, but more importantly, it gives all other tapped creatures I control Death Touch, and other untapped creatures Hexproof. I then beast within my own Guard of Splendor, get a beast token and another counter on Champion. I then swing out with Champion a 7/7 at this point, Maya, and my 2/2 human token. Pony blocks the Champion with his Ur-Dragon and goes to 1. That being said, I pass the turn. Turn 13, Pony draws, looks at the board, looks at his hand, and plays a City of Brass. When to go out on his own terms, he taps the City of Brass, making a blue mana and ping himself for 1, giving me the win. I did it.
That game was so upsetting.
I missed so many land drops, but I still made it.
That game was so upsetting. As the biggest tilt, like birds, like first off, Torvold got wrecked. He came out hot, and dragons were like, no. And then
Then came
I
out
decided
swinging.
he came out swinging, and I decided to pick on the dragons. No way to back it up, leaving no one to just. Oh look, we got our land.
Got our land. Here's a mana rock. Here's the Garden Splendor. Here's a
Oh my
random
gosh.
dude. Okay. Here's Champion of Lambholt. Put 5 counters on it. Swing.
That was such a derp game, but it was so funny. Oh man, like dragons was just it just looked like he was taking it. Like you just didn't were not doing anything, but left you alone just long enough. Like Torvald had to come out with heat, and then I had to come out making sure that he knew that I was just an asshole.
You
And
went
then
too far with not enough backup. You
I
wrote
did.
several checks that he made you cash, and you could not. You
I could
got
not.
bodied by.
No, they bounced. Yeah, they bounced hard.
But that being
Uh,
said, um, future me, don't keep a 2 land hand in a skull clamp. You're not going to get lands apparently,
yeah.
which is weird because I run
Uh,
like 34 lands in the deck.
Yeah, I don't know. It worked. Like play it again sometime. We'll see how it does with some more lands. But it was an interesting game. It was super fun. Uh, and I'll tell you what, we're wanting to see some more commanders from that set. We're wanting to see some more decks. So let us know what you've got. If you want to play a game with us, please comment down below. We're going to leave some links and some descriptions and everything, letting you guys know where to reach out to us because we're playing on here probably once a week now, trying to be more consistent with the videos. We're going to try and be uploading them on Fridays. So please reach out to us. We're always looking for casual games. Actually, next week, I think we're doing CEDH. So that could be super fun. Out to us if you're interested in playing CEDH. And then if you're still interested in casual, maybe not into CEDH as much, we're going to be doing that the previous week after. So just let us know. Please, we always are looking for people to play. And thank you so much for watching our content. Give us a like.
Like, subscribe, do the YouTube stuff. Yeah, down below we'll post a link for the Discord, open to everybody. We are filming these games usually on Thursdays, so you got Thursdays free. Go ahead and follow. Drop it in the comments. We have an entire commander channel there for the Discord. Say, hey, I'm looking to go ahead and get some games on the channel. Almost all of November we will be free to record. As long as we can get a pod on Thursdays, we'll record it. Now that being said,
Absolutely.
though, always keep an eye on notifications, like, subscribe, share with your friends, family, or whoever, or give us a thumbs down if you just don't like the game. That's okay too.
Let us know what you want to see.
Drop some
We'll
comments.
bring it.
Did we miss it? Make a misplay? I know I made a very big one that didn't cost anything really. It just gave somebody an extra turn to have. So if you catch it, drop the comment. Let me know what I did wrong. But on that note, thank you guys for watching. This has been The Weirdly Amused.